snippet of your consultation form. A little anxious here.
No,
Tucking the tail.
oh, she's very nervous.
Okay.
Yeah, I was telling the lady at Maria, she's a totally different dog outside than inside the home.
Okay.
You know, inside the home, you're moving around. Yeah, I can move around, but if I have somebody over,
Yep.
they can just get up and go to the bathroom. She's not, you know,
Yeah.
like
Barking and stuff.
She's never been here.
Yeah.
She'll be under my leg the whole time.
Sure.
You know, she don't want to mess with any other dogs. She stays away from people. You know, she actually scared a cat here
Yeah.
in the house. That's her like way. She got her chest out. She's growling.
Sure.
So yeah, no, it's two different. You know, Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, for sure. In the home.
No, not.
That's definitely when you said like everybody's calm, chill, nothing's going on, dog settles, somebody moves, dog triggers. It's a very standard nervous response. Do we have any dog reactivity outside? Like when if she sees a dog, is she fine or will she bark at them?
She'll bark at the dogs like as they go by.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I've never had a problem with her like going after any dogs or anything like that.
Okay.
You know, she'll jump up in the window, she barks, does her thing.
Sure.
They leave, she comes, sits back down.
Yeah. Almost every dog does that. So.
Yeah.
Sure. Any incidents with people in the home, like with her getting nervous and like move too quickly, like a little snip, or?
Yeah, definitely. You know, she's nipped a couple people. You know,
Okay.
not like a vicious like bite where she's drawn blood or anything, but
Right.
she'll, you know, like a lot of times when someone's walking away, she'll come and like try to like nip the back of their leg or something.
Sure.
Like kind of like just like you know.
Yeah. Does she have anybody outside of you that she trusts?
My brother, I mean, he lives on the second floor. You know, I got two flats. So I mean, she's known him as long as she's known me.
Okay.
But I would be her. You know, I'm her owner. Yeah.
At what age did you get her?
About 5-6 months. That's what they told me. Hey, I got her from like a rescue right
Sure.
away. It's on like the northwest side, Skokie.
Okay.
She said she was born in like November of 14.
Sure.
So she's about 5 or 6. That's why I put like 5 to 6. You know, I don't know if they got exacts.
Yeah, no, I get you. I don't know the age of my dog. Like at least not spot on. I have a general idea. Has she been like this since you got her, or did you notice this develop?
No, this is ever since I got her. You know, something I thought would just kind of fade away as she got more comfortable, and you know, like my mom's in Arizona, she'll come in the first couple of days, she's on edge. Then after, you know, like she's been in the home for a while, right? Now she's okay, you know, she's laying on her lap, you know, but then every once in a while, even with that, you know, like she'll move too quick or she'll come, you know, slap in the back of the head or something, and she wants to fight, you know.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Because the energy's changed.
Yeah.
There's more, I'd say more commotion going on. So like, let's say your mom comes to visit, she's there for a couple of weeks, whatever, things kind of get better.
Yeah.
She leaves, a year later comes back, and it's like a reset.
yeah, definitely reset.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, this last time I had almost like a cat. You know, she hates water, so I had like a little water bottle. You know,
Sure.
just kind of like, you know, doing something just to kind of break this.
Cycle.
You know, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of gotten to the point where you know, I can't keep going with this. You know, my brother's girlfriend's moving in. She's scared of the dog.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of just got to deal with it, and you know, getting rid of her is not an option.
Okay. How long have you had her for?
About 5 years.
5 years,
Since
okay.
14, you know, or maybe early 15.
Okay, so
about
it's like 5.5
Yeah.
years or so. Gotcha. Have you? And I think I saw you had done a little something with the previous trainer.
Yeah, it was kind of, I mean, between you and me, and I won't tell you who it was, but
Yeah.
it just felt like bullshit. Like,
With
you
the
know,
food stuff.
not even there. It would be like he'd come over, walk her around a little bit, you know, tell her to sit, and you know, 40 minutes later, here's, you know, I think it was like $500 to start, and then $100 a session, and you know, you take her for a walk and say she's improving, and I'm like, yeah,
But
that's-
you're the one that's got it.
right. I'm like, you know, I don't see improvement when, you know, my buddy comes over and she's barking her ass off, scaring the
Sure.
shit out of everybody.
Sure.
You know?
All right. Anything else I should know about her?
Well, like I said, I mean, you can see like she's nervous and stuff. I mean, you know, she'll get aggressive. You know, she'll put her chest out, she growls, like, you know, I mean, she's never really like attacked anybody or anything like that, but she's nipped people, and
Yeah.
you know,
she's not confident, obviously. Insecure dogs usually have like nervous anxiety, fear type of stuff. A confident dog, it depends on the context. So like as humans, like me as a dog trainer, I'm super confident. I've been doing this 10 years. Like, aggressive dogs, highly aggressive dogs, walk in, they grab me, pull you in, and start shaking you like legit, right? But I also play music. I play guitar. And if you put me in front of a bunch of people, not so confident in that skill set, but in this skill set, super confident, right? So for dogs, it's the same thing. When people talk about confidence in dogs, a dog can act aggressive and put on the biggest show. And then, like, let's say I have my suit on, and I'm like, all right, what are you about? And I can actually touch her, which is what she doesn't want. And she's going to show me her true colors. And a lot of time, what people think is aggressive, their dog's not aggressive.
No, I've kind of said that to other people who are terrified of her. I'm like, dude, I really think she's more afraid of you.
Yes.
Than
it's a defensive measure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we talk about aggression or aggressive, I don't like it because it's thrown around a little bit too freely. So I look at animal or dog behavior like human behavior. They get scared, we get scared. They get nervous, we get nervous. They can get angry, we can get angry, right? So like if someone punches someone, they're not then deemed an aggressive person. But for whatever reason, for a dog, if they have a moment, they're like, oh, my dog's aggressive, right? Like the whole fact that the dog should love everyone and everything is BS. That's not correct. I don't like everybody like me, and everybody like likes me, right? But we're civilized, so we don't like harass people we don't like.
Yeah.
For the most part, right?
Is,
There's people out there.
Which is exactly what I'm trying to get out of this.
Right.
So, like, I just want to, have somebody come over, the girl comes over to watch a movie, she's not on edge the whole time, or I got to put her in the room and I got to listen to her crying for 2 hours or something.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to now. Is like, if I have someone over, I put her in my room. I never really caged her. I never had a problem with her, like even training, like bathroom-wise. She's never been in a cage. She's always, I had my own place the whole time with her. So.
All right. Does she have any separation anxiety?
No, I mean, I come home, she's snoozing on the couch.
Okay, cool. So it's really that people coming over, movement, and then of course being in unfamiliar environments.
Yeah.
What part of the city are you from?
North side.
North side?
Far north side.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming it's slower over by you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like more quieter or whatever. So this obviously is completely out of her element.
Oh yeah. I mean, just with this many people, I usually take her to like the forest reserve and we'll go off on her own and I let her off the leash. I yell, she comes, she ain't perfect with coming to her name, but when we're out.
Yeah, you're in the forest preserve, like.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, not really. I mean, let's give me anything else information-wise you need from me.
So I'll explain how this works. I mean, this is a good rundown. I've worked, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, and when I see a nervous, anxious, fearful, or aggressive personality type, like I already have a good understanding of the dog because it's pretty standard. But then your dogs will have their own nuances, right? So it's just learning what those nuances are. I'm assuming before reaching out, you did some research on us?
Yeah, I mean, I ran over here for a website. I didn't pull up the dots here.
Okay, so I'll explain how I train, how it works, how I'd approach a case like this, okay? I use e-collar. For me, it's the best tool. It's the most effective tool. People tend to have a bad perception of it because they think it's like electrocution. They think it's like a taser. It's not actually. Have you ever been to a chiropractor or physical therapist?
Yeah.
Have you ever had TENS, the muscle?
Yeah, like it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they put the pads and it moves your muscle. That's an e-collar. Okay, so it's a muscle stimulator. But people, either because the most common term is shock collar, so people think they're shocking their dog, or they think like tasers or something. And they go, nope. They use this technology on people. It's a muscle contraction. It's perfectly safe. I use it on dogs with heart murmurs, dogs that have seizures.
Yeah, I mean that your Maria kind of explained a little that definitely gets in my mind because I don't hit her or nothing like that.
Right,
so
right.
like the first time I saw e-collar, it kind of was like,
That's why we do this. So I can better explain it to people. I used to have people feel it, but because of COVID and like the social distancing crap or whatever. But I always encourage, like when they get it, I'm like, feel it. I'm like, dogs bite each other, is how I put it, right? So when we get cases like this with nervousness, people's first approach is typically no kind of correctional measure or kind of physical aversive like e-collar or prong collar because they don't want to make the dog worse, which is correct if you're not educated, right? If you don't know what you're doing, yes, you should use these tools. However, they're perfectly safe to use, and I encourage using them because that's what actually toughens dogs up. So dogs, like, there's actually a video, and I have it on my YouTube channel. I have a collection of videos of the mother correcting her puppies. And there's one in particular where it's like a golden retriever, and she's in a pen with her puppies. And there's one puppy that's being antisocial. So you see all the puppies over here being normal, and you see the one puppy being weird by itself. So she comes over, picks the puppy up, the puppy's shrieking, she goes and pops it by the other puppies, and then keeps harassing it, right? And she keeps repeating this, and the puppy's shrieking and rolling and all that stuff, right? And eventually the puppy calms down. As soon as it calms down, the mom walks away, and the puppy just stays with the other puppies. So what she was doing is like, you're not going to be antisocial. You're going to be over here, and every time the puppy tried to get away, she's like, nope, not going to happen. Essentially, I would just say correcting the puppy and saying you're going to have to learn to deal with this, and eventually the puppy came here, right? That's how they handle things. A human would go, oh my God, look at this puppy, he's so sad, he's by himself, this and that. And I go, no, now you're encouraging their behavior, okay? Then when they bring their dog home and it has issues, they see the nervousness, they see the fear, because this is genetic. This is nothing, I wouldn't put this on anything that you did or that the rest of you did, or abuse and stuff. I've had dogs with stab wounds and gunshots be the friendliest dogs, because at core, they were stable. They were just in an unstable environment, okay? But when we get dogs that are have these issues and they're raised like in the perfect environment, and no matter what, like they're still nervous, anxious, fearful, or aggressive, I go, it's genetics. That's just how they're wired, okay? So especially like with this stuff here, because if it was like, let's say, abuse related, in the past 5.5 years, she would have gotten over it. Like you said, like I thought she would like outgrow it, right?
Yeah.
So that would have been like a kind of a, what's this, a kind of fake behavioral issue in the sense that it was because of the environment. So then once you took her and she was in a stable environment, you see those things go away. But if it's actually a part of the dog, even though they're in a stable environment, unless the person is like me, like a dog trainer, or knows what they're doing behaviorally, you're gonna see the same kind of behavior going on forward, okay? Because at core, she's a nervous dog.
Yeah.
You don't outgrow that. And then people are the same with people. There's people that are anxious and take anxiety meds, or socially, they have social anxiety and stuff. That's just how they are. And they either learn how to handle the social anxiety and go out and press those things, or they take possibly medication for it, right? So it's the same thing for the dog. It's either we teach them how to handle that nervousness, anxiety, or fear. There is medication, but in my experience, all it does is sedate the dog, just makes him sleepy, doesn't do anything. Okay? So with the e-collar, people think we're punishing things, right? She's not doing anything wrong. There's nothing to punish. But it's the way you apply the e-collar is what changes things, okay? And after this, what I highly encourage you to do is, have you seen my YouTube videos or anything like that?
No, I kind of just looked at the original website.
Okay.
The business website.
So, like I said, we've been recording everything, right? And I have like maybe a handful of cases. I got one now that's actually a nervous dog. She's a 6-month-old puppy. She just started, this last Friday was her second class. Her first class was the week before. So when I first saw her right here, she lunged at me, barking and all that stuff, completely nervous in the environment, right? They had their first class. And, the dog's being nervous. She's looking scared in the training. We work her through it. She gets confident. I go, here's your homework. I see you in a week. Come back week 2. They were standing right there with their dog, and she was sitting there as calm as can be. And the owners go, do you see this? Look how calm she is. I was like, yeah. Because of e-collar and what we did and how we apply it. So in your particular case, and there's different contexts, okay? In your home is one context, out in public is a separate context, okay? The first thing I do with a case like this is teach them how to walk on a leash my style, okay? And then you may say like, well, we go to a forest preserve, I don't need her to walk on a leash. It's not the walking on the leash. It's what's gonna help train that brain, okay? So in this environment, this is why we train here, because this isn't even as busy as Oz Park gets. This gets 4 more times busier. We got kids, scooters, rollerbladers, bikers, dogs, off-leash dogs, people throwing little parties and stuff. It gets super busy here, right? So for a dog like her or an anxious dog, it's a lot. So in this environment, we get her to dial in on you, okay? So when the dog is focused on the handler, if you will, let's say we're in an environment like this where she's nervous. If you're not proactively doing anything with her to teach her, you do not have to be nervous in this environment, she doesn't improve, okay? You can keep bringing her, and she'll just keep going under stress, because she doesn't know how to go through it. That makes sense, okay? Once you get her to dial down and control her nervousness and walk by stuff that would typically trigger her, And she's like, she's in her brain, she's going, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And in the past, she was, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then it happens again, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And then nothing happens, oh, that was so bad. But she needs something, she needs something, she needs something to get her attention, okay? So once she's completely focused on you, like this here, because, you know, like the way she's guarding you as well, like she's like crossing your body and stuff.
She's super protective.
Yeah, I saw that in your thing. And she's doing it because in her world, it's kill or be killed, okay? In our world, we have cops and laws and judges and prisons that keep bad people, right, away from us, but they're still out there. But you're not worried about that when you leave your door. You know what I mean? For her, it's different. For her, she doesn't know about that stuff, right? So everything is a potential threat. So she has to be more on guard. And she's not fit for that role, clearly. She's insecure, she's nervous, right? But somebody has to. So when you start to add in that discipline factor, you're also changing that psychology. Because if you're disciplining her, and disciplining through remote is what I call physicality. So think of it as like a bite on the button, you know, because dogs bite each other. In the case of in your home, if she doesn't want them in the home or they move too quickly, she's saying, hey, watch your behavior in my home, right? She's using that physicality to establish some kind of rule of boundary. So we can do the exact same with e-collar, except with e-collar, there's no confrontation. She doesn't know where it's coming from. So have you ever seen a prong collar, the spiking one?
Can we go over there and watch this for you?
You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, but I've never seen it in person, but yeah.
Okay, so they make a prong collar, right? Prong collars are great tools, but the problem with them is, like, let's say in this setting, and I move towards you, and she goes back off, right? And you correct her. In her brain, she's coming from a valid place. She's going, hey man, I'm trying to protect us. Why are you correcting me, right? So it's hard to argue with that because intensity-wise, one, you may not be able to match it, but then two, for her, she's like, why would you do that, you know? If I try to correct her, I'm just gonna make her more nervous because I'm the thing that's making her nervous, right? Because she's already perceiving threat from me, so the moment I start yanking her, she's gonna go, yep, that's why I don't like you, because I thought this was gonna happen, right? E-collar, she does not know where it's coming from. Okay, so I can press it, you can press it, whatever. But I wouldn't come in trying to target that behavior, okay? Because the aggression isn't the problem. What's the problem?
Such the nervousness.
Nervousness, right? And in your home, the territorial behavior, okay? That's a separate thing. So once we tame that down, we should not see the reactivity, or like right now when I move, she's like, whoa, back off, right? We shouldn't see that because now the brain is calmer. The nerves aren't so on edge. Like right now, she's just like this. She's crossing her body, she's shaking. She's like, what's going on? What's the next thing gonna come over here, right? So when we get her completely passive, she shouldn't be perceiving threat constantly. We shouldn't see nervousness, okay? If there were to be legitimate aggression is used through touch sensitivity, which is me going in her personal space to touch her, that's a separate thing, okay? So there's just the coexistence of, hey, we're gonna go for a walk, we're gonna pass by people are gonna pass by you, and her not being reactive, that's one. The other part of it is, if there is any kind of issues with socialization, the one thing that she's not wanting is physical contact. That's the worst thing in her brain, is I would test that out and see, is there any real meaning there, okay? So let's say I go in her personal space, I have a sleeve and I have a suit that protects me, I touch her, maybe she panics and like piano bites is what we call it, it's panic biting, and I can feel the intensity in the suit. Most of the time, the dogs, it's super weak. They're just doing it because they're panicked, right? There's a dog off leash here, by the way, if you want to go like this way. So, and we can test that, okay? So
yeah,
I
as far as that, yeah, like, you know, I've noticed, like, it took me a long time for her to just let me touch the top of her head. You know, like, now, she's cool, you know. Once she, like, warms up to people, they can touch her. But, yeah, I mean, if someone comes in the house, and the first thing they do is go to pet her.
forget about it.
Yeah.
And that's a separate thing, and I'll go over that as well, okay? So that's something that can be done, right? Because we have a suit, so if we do see anything, we can correct it. Because in order to get her to be social, you have to break that comfort zone. So if she's not, if like for you, like I said, it took me a while before I could touch her, right? Is for other people, if she's already has her trust with you and she just perceives that threat, it's never gonna turn into completely social, like with you. It's always gonna be social with boundaries, okay?
Yeah, which is fine. You know, like, I kind of, she's never gonna be, you know, that dog who's just walking through the park by herself. And cool, I don't need that. You know, I just need
It's just normal.
Yeah, I just need
as normal
you to,
as
like,
possible.
hey, once you see that I'm chill with this person in the house, then you be chill with the person. So, like, like you said, I understand where you're going with, like, we need to walk on the leash and stuff. So yeah, I'm cool with that. But yeah, it's more of me is like the home. That's
For sure.
That's where I'm finding all the problems. Like,
Yes.
if I got to go to the horse or the walker, that doesn't bother me. But yeah, I mean, I understand where you're going. You got to build up to what you're saying.
Yes. Once we get the leash walking stuff down, which is typically about 2 classes, okay, we see how much progress do we get. So the 6-month-old puppy I told you that we work with right here, within the first week, they're like, you know what, she's barking less, she's less on edge in the house, all this stuff. Because now she's getting formal discipline, now she's having to focus, and she's not constantly in a state of nervousness, her stress levels are down, right? So then we're looking at what changes do we get within the home. Now, people coming over, again, separate contacts, right? But once we get those 2 classes down, the 3rd class would be the people coming over stuff, okay? So, there's 2 parts to that. One is when someone knocks or rings the doorbell, like sister, mom coming over, Amazon dropping off a package, she will never know. Okay, in her brain, she will never know. This is Amazon. I forgot about it. For her, anytime something triggers within the home, or there's some kind of stimulus, she's going to trigger. And she's going to go, what's going on? Dad, somebody's here, blah, 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 blah. But then territorial behavior kicks into suspicion. And the suspicion is what doesn't allow her to finally warm up to your mom, even though she's seen your mom several times, right? Once you start to shut down the suspicion and the territorial behavior, it allows curiosity to then come out. So when you said if she's there for a few days and then she opens up, it takes a few days. We're wanting within the first few minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Once you start to get that, you'll start to see her open up quicker. The nervous response to her to fast movements is a separate thing as well. Potentially, the leash walking stuff and discipline and exposing her to things like, because it's part of the process, right? Like, look, this stuff happens, you don't need to be nervous. To help desensitize her, so ideally we don't see it within the home. Now, if we do still see it within the home, no big deal. Now we do a different approach. That approach is, like, let's say she's got her collar on, mom's over, she begins barking, you calm her down, mom comes in, she's great, she's being calm, and then an hour later, your mom gets up and she triggers, you now can correct it, and you have to correct it. So the nervous response, so it's kind of like for a person, they smoke a cigarette, and then again, 2 hours later smoke another cigarette, and keep doing that, you're building a habit. Every time you do that and repeat that process, you're building a habit. So for her, every time she triggers to a movement, she's building a habit. And you have to break that habit. We can't coach her. We can't say, look, when mom moves, don't bark, right? She does nothing. We need aversives there. And that's why you call her so effective, because again, it's a neutral, doesn't know where it's coming from, and it's at the press of a button. So you don't have to be you could be across the room and still have me control. So mom's like, hey, I'm gonna get up and go to the bathroom. And you're like, okay, I'm ready. She gets up, she barks, boom, right away you stop it. Now we're not talking about like slam her, make her scream and yell. We're finding a number that's going to disrupt that pattern and dissuade her from repeating it, right? So, and we keep repeating that. So then she thinks, you know what, every time mom moves and I trigger, this happens. What happens if I don't trigger? Right? Mom moves, she doesn't trigger. Her brain processes, oh, there's no consequence for that. And I didn't need to trigger because nothing happened negative afterwards. Okay? And that's the long part of it, okay? Typically with dogs that are antisocial, like, with your mom, they will recover quicker with people they've seen already several times, because she's already seen her 100 times. She's just been stuck in a state of suspicion that's not allowed her to fully open up to her like she's opened up to you, okay? And then, of course, the little nuanced things of potentially having to correct her for every little, like, minor or nervous response, okay? Because that's how another dog would address it. So if, like, she, like, triggered and started chasing after a dog within your home, and that dog was like, screw you, you're not going to chase me, they would just turn around and whap. You go, are you going to chase me now? It's that simple, okay? But people think about hurt, they think about pain, right? They're like, I don't want to hurt my dog, I don't want to ruin the relationship. It's not about that. But she still needs formal discipline to dissuade her from repeating that response. To get her to be more sociable, I also have specific exercises which are super simple. It's usually a class and a class and a class. Because I'm just giving you info, and then I go, here, it's this simple, now repeat it. Okay, so if you have someone coming over 3 to 5 times a week, you're gonna make real quick progress, because you have someone coming over 3 to 5 times a week. If you have someone come over once a month, you're You can have progress, but it's going to be a very slow progress. Okay. Questions so far?
No, I mean, it's making sense. I mean, it definitely sounds a lot better than the other trainers where I was going. You know, at least
Sure.
I can see where you're heading.
And I don't touch the dog. It's all you. It's all verbal instruction. Okay. E-collar allows me to do that. So with COVID, it's been kind of like a blessing and a curse. It was a curse because I had 30, 40 clients and I went to zero when that shit happened. And then I had one client sign up, and I wish I would have filmed their first 2 sessions because their dog was complete 180. The dog broke the husband's shoulder twice, sent him to VR 3 times in a year. And it was a super friendly dog, just huge and would like drag him down. So complete 180. They did a testimonial, and then we put it up, and then everybody just started signing up. And then we started recording ever since, and it's just been kind of just snowballing. So it's all verbal instruction, okay? And everybody's been doing great. As long as they're doing what I tell them to, which is the variable, everybody is doing very well. So let's say we're working with her, and this is just for example, okay? Because you have to be ready to do the hard stuff if you're going to get her. And we come to the conclusion where I'm like, man, she needs 95 in terms of intensity of power. And it goes to 127, right? So 95 out of 127 is a lot, right? And it all makes sense when we started. We always start low and we work our way up as we progress, okay? So one day I might tell you, like, you know what? According to today, blah, 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 you need 95, right? And I go, here's your homework. I'll see you in a week. You come back the next week and go, how'd it go? You're like, Jesse, it sucked. And I go, why did it suck? I'm like, she was really bad, right? I go, how so? She was pulling, she wasn't listening, this and that. And I go, okay, what was your number? And you go, 35. I go, I thought I told you 95. You know, you're 60 levels short there.
Yeah, wow.
That's where people struggle. And right now, I only have 2 clients that are struggling with that. They're doing better, but they're struggling with the increase in the power. But their dog's not yipping and yelping and rolling on the ground. It's just the human logic is telling them, I'm 3/4 of this remote. I'm 3/4 of the power up, and I feel really bad about it. But the dog is perfectly fine, you know? So it's the emotional, psychological issue of the human, not so much the dog, okay? With e-collar, we work as low as possible, but as high as needed, okay? So most trainers try to sell like it's low level, we're gonna be at 3 out of 100 type of BS. It's not realistic, okay? I go as low as possible, but as high as needed. So I want her to be, again, very focused, and I don't care what the environment is. That you're able to walk through stuff, you know, Home Depot, PetSmart, wherever you want to take her, and she's just chill. She's not gonna have a great time in the beginning, I'll tell you that. She's gonna be very nervous because you're exposing her more, you're putting under more stress. But that's how you get her to handle stress. Okay, most people tend to shelter, keep them away. That just makes it
Yeah, no, I
complete.
mean, that's definitely something I'm probably guilty of. You
Yeah.
know, like once she was not like starting to, you know, be cool with everybody, you know, started, hey man, you know, I'll just come meet you outside, or, you know, I'll meet you at your house.
Yeah,
and,
you're avoiding, you know.
yeah, you know, because it's, you know, the last thing I'd want to do is her to actually, you know, really bite somebody, and now we got a fucking problem.
For sure, right? So I get where you're coming from. And then it wouldn't have helped even if you did it because you didn't have the right tools. Like if you brought her out and all that stuff, she would still be nervous. The only thing that makes this effective is the fact that we have something that disagrees with her being nervous. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can bring her in an environment and it's like, yeah, I know this sucks, but you can't be nervous. That's the difference. So that she has to learn another means of handling that stress, which is simply just accepting it. And over time, you see her ideally calm down. Okay? So in the beginning, with the e-collar, you're more than likely going to see her look even more nervous than usual. Okay? It's not because it's making her worse. Nervousness is a stress response. Okay? E-collar is a stressor, but it's a controllable stressor. So if you're putting a stressor on her, it makes sense that she's going to be more nervous. That's why we keep doing it. Eventually, she goes, "Oh, I can handle this. I know what this is. This is a line of communication. It's not that bad." Start to see the progression, and she's not as nervous as she was in the very beginning. But things will get typically worse before they get a little bit better, okay? Not in the sense of worse that she's more aggressive, in the sense that she's gonna be more just like shaky and stuff, okay? It goes away, but you have to keep exposing her. People typically expose, feel really bad about what they see, and then withdraw from using the remote, and then they stay in like this little, they hit a plateau. Because they're not using it. I use it very generously. I remote for every single thing. So the dog goes, oh shit, this is just part of life. Okay, that's how we toughen her up, just like the mom would. Like just harass them, give them all the rules and discipline and stuff, and then once they give you what you want, great, we're done. And then we just keep going on, no big deal.
So I gotta do that one question. Is it So you're like the e-collar, that's like the rest of her life? Or
Yes and no. When you need it. Okay? So typically outside, in my opinion, all the time, you need it because you can't account for life. Maybe, you're just sitting on the corner and someone's like, oh my God, look at that cute dog. And without you even seeing, it's going to pet your dog from behind. If something happens, you have a means of stopping it.
Yeah.
Right? Or if, like, let's say you're walking her at the forest preserve and some jerk sets off a random firework, maybe she gets spooked. I'm not worried. I can make the return. Okay, in that sense. In the home, it can go a lot of different ways. Typically, when the dog needs to wear the e-collar within the home all the time when there's someone over, it's because I'm dealing with a very severe aggression case where I'll tell the owner, like, you don't even want to gamble not having a collar on this dog because it's just too much liability. All it is the dog has a collar on and they're chill, but they're not constantly using it, you know? In other cases, when a guest is going to come over, the owner will have the collar on prior so they can calm the dog down, de-escalate the territorial nervous behavior, have the guest come in. 15 minutes later, the dog warms up and is at ease. They remove it, they're done. Okay?
Some kind of case by case.
Yeah. In other cases, yeah, the dog's fine. They don't need it anymore because you spend most of your time within the home. Okay? But I would expect to need it when there's going to be some kind of stimulus. In your case, when a guest comes over, or when you're outside walking her, you can't account for the environment. Other than that, if she's a good dog, you don't need it. Okay? So, yeah, and that was my next thing. The most common thing that people ask is, when does the e-collar go away? I'm guessing you drove here on the expressway?
Yeah.
Did you go to speed limit?
Right. Well, at least when I couldn't.
When you could get away with it, right? Most people don't, right? I don't.
Yeah.
It's opportunistic behavior. But if you were to see a squad car, I'm assuming you would slow down, right? So think of it that way with dog behavior, okay? Think of the e-collar as a top on the collar. When it's present, she's going to know, okay, dad has control. I can keep myself in check, so on and so forth. Be obedient and, keep myself in check in terms of the nervous response and stuff. But as soon as it's off, it's going to be like a human.
Right, yeah. She might want
You can't make me stop. Correct, okay? So it's nothing against the training. It's nothing against my skills as a trainer, your skills as a handler, or anything like that. It's simply just opportunistic behavior. If you can get away with it, why not? Okay? So, and as you go along, you'll learn her more, right? Where you'll be like, oh yeah, wow, I do use it outside. It's on her, but I don't have to use it, but it's just there just in case. But in the home now, even when I have guests come over, like, she's great. Like, when she made a 180, she's sociable.
that would be, that'd be awesome.
The most realistic thing in terms of sociability is people coming in the home. That's what I care about, okay? Now, if you want to push for more, I always do encourage it. But outside, like, I could care less if she says hi to all these people here.
That's kind of exactly how I feel. Like, if she wants to be by herself outside, I'm cool. It's more of, inside the home, I need her to relax. Hey, if it's the middle of the night and you're by yourself and someone breaks in the house, have
Exactly,
at them.
security.
Have at them. And, that's cool. But when we're all sitting on the couch and, these guys, a couple of my buddies who've been here 100 times come in, you need to chill out. That's
Right. Open up to them. Yeah, for sure. So the way I see your program kind of working out, because I do 6, 9, and 12-week programs, you're most likely like in the 6-week range. Because it'd be 2 classes for leash walking. We would then shift into behavior mode, which is people coming over. That'd be as a class working on formal socialization exercises to build trust between like her and your mom and stuff, so that when she sees her mom again, ideally she'd greet your mom like she greets you. That's how you know you're making progress. With she's opening up that social bubble. That's typically only a couple classes. Okay, if that's all going well, then I would jump into recall. I would just pick into classes as well, so you have that office recall just in case anything happens. And then we've also added in 2 Zoom sessions to the program as like complimentary Zoom sessions. Because everything is instruction based, it's a lot that if you have any questions, instead of answering them here, we do it over a Zoom call. And this way we save these in-person sessions for training trips. Because I'm going to be giving you a lot of info and you might forget some stuff. And if you forget anything, you go to our YouTube, click on your video, what did Jesse say at that one point? I forgot. Find that spot, and then you have that information there for you as well. Now, because of COVID, unfortunately, the in-home stuff is tricky. Okay, I'm not doing any in-home at the moment. However, what we can do, to do this for a couple other clients, similar to like Territorial to home cases, is it's a Zoom session with me, but I send one of my employees over to do the session with you. Okay, and he comes in, he's gonna have the bite suit on and stuff, so it's kind of like he can press her go up to her, you know, pet her and stuff to see like what is she all about. You'll get a better feel of what she's about. We can correct that if she does have an issue with it and becomes defensive. It's normal, like it's part of the process. And then we can just kind of push from there. Okay. The reason why I don't do it is because I am my business. If I get sick, who's going to sign the paychecks? Who's going to keep the business going, right? So, but we do have a solution for that scenario. Okay. Otherwise, it's really straightforward. E-collar makes things super simple. Okay. It's very, once you understand the concept and once you see it, it's going to make a lot of sense. Okay. So we just want to get some structure in the brain, calm her down, calm those nerves down a bit, get her to settle, handle stress, expose her more. It will be a great benefit to her. Handling that door exercise, communicating with her. That's not about obedience, not about sit, stay down, come, or anything like that. It's about, hey, I know someone's here, thanks for telling me, but I need you to calm down and just relax. So if she's completely passive and the guest comes in, we don't see any kind of barking, lunging type behavior. And then after that, we work on the socialization aspect of how do we get her to like these people quicker and trust them like she would trust you. Okay?
Oh, yeah, sounds great.
Now, because we're dealing with an animal, I can't guarantee I can make her trust people. Okay? However, stopping the door stuff and all that, that's actually simple. Okay? That's not a problem. It's the sociability that's the problem. Okay? I think more likely than not, she's going to open up because she opens up to your mom. It just takes her a few days with some added quirks, right? So I think once we start smacking in some structure here, I think it'll be perfectly fine. Questions for me so far?
No, I mean, it's most of all you answer most of my questions in between.
Itself, for sure. How much does she weigh?
About 75.
75?
I don't know, maybe a little more. I could try to throw her on the scale.
Sorry, she's about the same size as she looks like my pit in terms of size, so she's probably like in the 60 to 70 range. You technically have two choices for the remote. One runs about 287 with taps, you can get them on Amazon. It's for 70 pounds and under. 3/4 mile range, fully waterproof. And the other one is meant for 70 plus. Okay, that one's a 1 mile range, fully waterproof, and it's really up to you. The reason why I would suggest the higher powered one is in case you have to account for emotional state. So it's kind of like you've been in a fight.
Yeah.
You're like you have punch, you don't feel it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Afterwards, same thing for her when she's under stress and she's in an aggressive state of mind.
Yeah, you got your adrenaline
we might need that power to override. So I was like, and they just recently discontinued it, but you can still find some models available. So it's kind of like have it and not need it type of deal. They run about 352 attacks. I've had mine for about 8 years. So it's an investment, but it's going to last you a really long time. Most common problem you get is the battery does die because it's rechargeable lithium battery. You go on their website, it's about a $15, $20 replacement. Open it up, put in a new battery, close it up, you're good to go. Okay. Maria will send you the information with links to the models so you can purchase it. At the end of the day, it's your personal preference, which you want to go with. My recommendation is always just go with the higher power, a few extra bucks, and you don't really have to worry about anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
What are we looking at? I noticed, you had different programs.
Oh yeah.
Different
the 6
prices.
week with the 2 Zooms, so essentially 8 hours of work is $825. And then part of your I think $100 of this fee will go towards that as well. So essentially you'll leave it a $725 balance and whatever the cost of your collar is.
Okay. Yeah, that's reasonable.
And I suggest, and I can send you this if you'd like. I have a pity that we just started last week, a very anxious reactive pity, very similar to kind of this case here. If you want to watch me in action, it's that's why we put that stuff up, because so that you can see like, oh, like this guy actually knows his shit, like he gets results.
Yeah.
Is you see the dog in the beginning like huffing, puffing, reacting, lunging towards me. We do some real simple heel stuff. Dog sitting down completely calm. Dogs all around, and me, I'm going like making all these noises and stuff. The dog could care less about me because we calm the dog down. Okay, so to give you a visual of like kind of what to expect, and then other than that, I don't foresee really any issues here. I think you got a pretty standard nervous dog, and then we'll just see. We'll play it by ear once everything starts.
Now, like as far as when we meet here, what days?
Maria would know that.
Okay.
My schedule, I've learned not to
week is
talk about it.
different.
Yeah, now, because That was a trek for you to get here, I'm assuming?
20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not
Yeah,
too bad.
this place is ideal because this is like the busiest park in Chicago. And like, again, like this isn't even as busy as it gets. It's a very realistic environment, you know, in terms of like practicing the obedience stuff and everything like that. So, if I was telling you, if your dog can do it here, then at home should be no problem.
Yeah, no, I like that approach. That's cool.
Yeah. And then if like it's a raining day, you know, we can meet at my facility. It's a 13,000 square foot space, and you can just drive into my garage and you just walk in. It's a 6,000 square foot training space, so this way we don't like miss any classes and stuff. And then that's pretty much it.
All right. Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds, promising. So I'd like to, get started.
Sure. I'll call Maria and I'll let her know. She'll follow up with you with all the information.
Okay.
She'll send you again the model info and all that stuff. And then I greatly encourage, going to my YouTube channel. Dog's name is Lake, L-A-K-E. Just type in Lake on my channel. There's only like 1 or 2 videos. One's a consultation, and then one is the first session. And I title them Lesson 1, and then click on it, and it's a nice, very like educational 1-hour video, and you'll see the shift and more so the approach that you call it.
Is that about the length of the class? About an hour?
It's an hour, correct. Yeah, each class is an hour. Outside of the Zoom ones, like you meet me here, and then for the people coming in and stuff, I can set that up with my employee, and then it'd be me on the Zoom and my employee coming in to do the door knock stuff. You can even have the suit on. If you want to see like what is she really about, will she really do anything, and then if we need to correct it, and correct it in the sense of that's how we get her to start opening up and trust people. Is she's scared of being touched? He goes to touch her. She freaks out. We correct it. We calm her down. We continue touching her. She's like, oh, like it's not that bad. And the only reason I got corrected was because I was becoming aggressive. So what we're just teaching her is that aggression is not a valid response. Okay, like there's nothing to be aggressive over. Like you're fine. And then we keep repeating that, and then gradually we can build that up to trust and opening up to people like you. Okay.
Yeah, no, it sounds awesome.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, it's pretty much covered everything.
Okay, so I'll talk to Maria. She'll get in touch with you. And if you need anything else, you let us know. And then check out the YouTube channel. Do some research. I encourage research. Unfortunately, there are people out there that say they're trainers that really don't know shit.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 10 years, man. So I got people that spend tens of thousands of dollars on their dogs with no results, and I come in, I'm like, yeah, I'll be $1,000, and then I fix it in like 6 classes. And I'm like, what the hell? So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would be awesome. I appreciate that for life.
Yeah, I deal with this stuff all the time. For me, it's just a day in the office. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I was worried about. Was like, is she like the one dog that can't get fixed or anything?
No, typically when it's something like that, realistically speaking, like if I have a severely aggressive dog, we can stop the aggression, no problem. But I'll tell the owner, like, it would be really unethical to just be like, yeah, pet my dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we've stopped it, and the dog will coexist, but at the same time, I'm like, just don't even push it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in your case, realistically speaking, that's why I was like in the house stuff. And we can always, I also recommend muzzle training, because if you do want her to like socialize with like people coming over, you also want to think about how they feel. Right? And if they're like, well, why? Because people always go like, why do you want, like, they'll pet dogs on their own terms, no problem, without permission. But the moment you're like, hey, pet my dog, people are like, why?
Yeah.
So, and we can send you that information as well. I do encourage it, if you're wanting to push sociability, so that when you have friends come over, they can feel at ease of like, oh, okay, like I'm not worried about her going after me or whatever. And if something happens,
yeah, because most of the people that will be coming over have already kind of dealt
experience.
with it. Yeah, push dog away.
So we have links on my website. I'll have Maria send that to you as well.
Okay.
And you'd want to start that process as soon as possible. And it shows you how to size it, the brands I recommend, and then we also have links, a video that we made, and then other links to muzzle training videos. And you just start that process. Okay, so it's super easy to do, and people tend to try to push it towards like, oh, like I need it for this week. Now let me try it, and then the dog's not having it. It just makes things a lot harder. Okay, so I would definitely recommend you start that process. All right.
All right, man, sounds good. And yeah, I'll be in touch with Maria and
Yep.
get started as soon as we can.
For sure. Yeah. Whenever if you need anything, let us know. And then otherwise, it's a pleasure meeting you. Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Same thing.
Michael.
Thanks, man.